So tomorrow, in the early morning, there is a Hair on Fire special meeting in Lynn Haven at 7 a.m. on a Monday, and I want to fill you in on what's going on. As Jesse Nelson, the mayor, said one time, "The truth's coming out. The truth's coming out." So I want to let a few more of you join before I tell you what's happening, and I tell you why they're calling this meeting and why Lynn Haven defendants, being the city and city manager Vicky Gaynor, are in full panic mode. I'll tell you what I expect, what I anticipate they might do, and the purpose of this meeting based on at least a decade of watching them pull the same fakakta moves over and over. But the corruption that did not get held accountable criminally is on the ropes when it comes to lawsuits. And they're just getting started, Jack. These are the beginnings of the ones already filed. Dozens. Against all kinds of county officials and city officials. All right, let me I'm going to show you some of this, tell you about the lawsuit, fill you in on this deposition, and what I anticipate the city is going to do at its early morning meeting. But I do want to thank a couple of sponsors. So let's do that, please, before I get started.
Hand caught in the cookie jar? Sometimes bad habits continue even into adulthood. I'm El Saline, 850-215-0628. Let me help you.
Don't let back pain and neck pain get you down. Find relief at Brown Chiropractic Center on St. Andrews Boulevard in Panama City. Dr. Sherry Brown helps people heal naturally with chiropractic adjustments and deep tissue massage. Call 769-3777. So this is what it's all about. That's it right there. James Finch has filed a lawsuit against the city of Lynn Haven, against city manager Vicky Gaynor individually, and against their contracted city engineer, Chris Forehand. Chris Forehand was given immunity by the feds for crimes he committed against the city of Lynn Haven. As long as he would testify, or as long, he didn't even have to testify, as long as he would cooperate with the feds to go after the real whistleblowers, Mayor Margo Anderson and James Finch. James Finch was acquitted after 2 trials. And they didn't expect he'd still be around, quite frankly. And he's filed a lawsuit against Chris Forehand, the city of Lynn Haven, and Vicky Gaynor. You see Vicky Gaynor in the middle with the scissors there. Well, she made sure to sever any relationship between Chris Forehand and James Finch. And this is what it's about. They created a requirements for being able to bid for big contracting jobs in Lynn Haven. And Vicky Gaynor coerced, according to new testimony, Chris Forehand into creating requirements that would only exclude James Finch, who is the most qualified contractor in Bay County with the highest pre-approval by DOT, and the only one who always gets it done on time, early, and under budget. Okay, so Vicky Gaynor coerced forehand there. And more than that, she said, you better not do business with them outside of here either, or you're not getting any city business, according to testimony. Now, everybody knew that. Well, a lot of people knew that, but it had never been confirmed until last week, or the week before, rather, in a deposition. And tomorrow you see Jesse Nelson praying there on the right. He's called a special meeting, and they got to figure out how they're going to move forward together as one commission. Oh, boy. It's the truth coming out. So, all right, where to start here? So the city still does a lot of business. They still, and Panama City as well. It doesn't matter, that he was given immunity for crimes he committed against the city. But it's starting to be harder to justify that. So Finch, the plaintiff, deposed, and this made it to the internet, the copy of the deposition of Chris Forehand. I'm going to tell you how it made it to social media. And I think this is going to be part of what's going to happen tomorrow. All right. So I'm just going to tell you what I'm thinking is going to happen, and we'll see what happens, because I got to get my ass up early now. That was why they called it at 7 a.m. Nobody will show. Everybody should show. You won't believe how much money, taxpayer money, they waste on just pettiness and fraud and bid rigging. So Finch sued the city and the city manager and Chris Forehand. Basically, I think for like tortious interference, for conspiring to cut him out of any contracts, any possibility of even bidding for contracts. And Chris Forehand entered into a sworn deposition. And if you read the transcripts, you saw that he said, yes, Vicky Gaynor essentially coerced him. You either cut Finch out, you help me create a requirement so that Finch can never win a contract again. And he did. He said all of it. And then James Finch dismissed him from the lawsuit. So Forehand went under oath, told the truth about Vicky Gaynor, the city manager, and Finch dismissed him from the lawsuit. So tomorrow morning, the other defendants in this lawsuit, the city of Lynn Haven and city manager Vicky Gaynor, being sued individually, the defendants are having an early morning meeting as the city to figure out what the heck they're going to do. Because guess who's next on deck? Vicky Gaynor and city employees who know about this illegal arrangement, this conspiracy against, quite frankly, the best contractor Lynn Haven's ever had. And so the city is in full panic mode. I mean, they're the defendants. So let's talk about this, this deposition. This deposition, how did it get on the internet? Because that part of the case is dismissed with Forehand. But the city leaked that deposition. The city did. And I'll tell you exactly how. And I think what they're going to do, what I anticipate they're going to do, is they're going to do what they always do. They're going to play the victim. They're going to accuse Finch of wrongdoing, I think, if they can. I mean, I don't even know what they're allowed to talk about. They're the defendants. But it wouldn't surprise me if they try to say geez, um, we, if you are if you are subpoenaed to be deposed in a lawsuit, you have the right to feel, you're never going to be comfortable, but you have the right to not be intimidated and this sort of stuff. So I wouldn't be surprised if the city tries to accuse Finch of sensationalizing his lawsuit or whatever, which, I mean, we're kind of allowed to do. But that's not what he did. If you read Mayor Nelson's Facebook post when he called this 7 a.m. meeting, by the way, he posted it not on the city's Facebook page, but he posted it on his campaign Facebook page. And he said the city has knowledge of a deposition, and we need to have the city attorney give us advisement and shit. I'm sorry. Give us advisement about how to move forward together as one commission. Well, you're going to have some trouble with that, Jesse, because even though Commissioner Jamie Warwick, the Republican of the Year by Tho Bishop and the local Republicans, even though he says that he has seen no corruption in the city of Lynn Haven, I happen to know that's a lie. Sorry, Jamie, it's a lie. Now, how do I know this? Why would I make such a statement? I hate it. I hate that I have to say this. But because Jamie Warwick sat in the federal courtroom with me, next to me, right behind me, when Vicki Gaynor was on the witness stand. And Vicki Gaynor talked about a lot of corruption. And Vicki Gaynor was asked a lot of questions, such as, what do you think about the previous city manager, Michael White? She said, I thought he was a great leader. This is what she told federal judge Mark Walker. And Jamie Warwick saw this. He was in the courtroom. He was a great leader, she said under oath. And she was asked by the attorney, do you know how much money he stole? And she said, it was about $5 million. And do you think he was a great leader? She said, absolutely. Jamie Warwick saw this. She also said, she also testified, it was 2 or 3 different subjects that she said on the witness stand to Judge Walker under oath that were different than what she told the FBI. For example, she told the FBI in a 302 that she walked in on Michael White and the FEMA lady, and they were having sex in the office. Then she went on the witness stand and said, that's not what happened. And she was asked, what do you mean that's not what happened? And he said, and Vicki Gaynor said, I don't know if they were having sex, but I walked in on them and the FEMA lady was slumped over. Like that's any better. And it went on and on. It went on and on. And Jamie might say, well, that's all corruption that's gone now. Now, Jamie, Vicki Gaynor has done these things, and you know that. And I know that Jamie Warwick is, well, I don't know. He hasn't told me, he didn't talk to me. But I understand that Jamie Warwick, from watching the meetings, would like to have a different city manager, would like probably to fire her and get a different city manager. But there's a whole lot of corruption. I mean, hell, it's corrupt what they did to you, Jamie, when you ran for office the first time, a little more than 4 years ago, when you were out knocking on doors and city manager Vicki Gaynor and police chief Ricky Ramey, those two names keep coming up, don't they? When they threatened to arrest you if you knocked on doors and asked for votes, and you had to go to the supervisor of elections, Mark Anderson at the time, who contacted them and said, no, that's not illegal to do. Knock it off. And the city had to knock it off. I mean, you saw corruption before you even got there. Anyway, so I would anticipate that tomorrow they're going to. We'll see. Maybe they. I don't know. How do I know? This is what I bet they do. Oh, Finch is sort of sensationalizing the lawsuit. It's all over the internet. Now, we don't want our people to be deposed. They're going to have to be. But you know who leaked it? It was the city. It was the city commission that leaked the deposition. And the deposition wasn't under seal or anything. But the first person, to my knowledge, that posted this deposition of Chris Forehand, that really under oath, Chris Forehand says that Vicky Gaynor gave him a choice. Either you stop doing business with James Finch outside the city, or you'll never get a city contract again. She didn't say it that way. She said, if you know what's good for you. But that's what he said he thought it meant. And then directed him to create requirements that prevent Finch from ever getting work again, and put a stop to Finch when he was the lowest bidder by nearly $300,000 on a big project. She said, we're going to do it again. And that project ended up costing the city $500,000 more, all because Vicky Gaynor did not want James Finch to have a contract with the city, even if it was $500,000 less than anybody else that could have done the job. If you read the depositions that were posted on Facebook and on the neighborhood app, then you know this. What is the city going to do? You know what they're going to do. They're going to hire another fakakta lawyer, come up with all kinds of excuses. Jesse Nelson will turn into a founding father and say the 14th Amendment won't let us fire Vicky Gaynor. You know, all the stuff. But my understanding is this is who posted it online. This is who posted it first. And again, it's not illegal to post, but this is who. If the city says that Finch posted it online or had his people posted online, it was Ryan Scray, a resident and citizen who regularly goes up and gives public comments and engages in this type of stuff and has been all over the place. I mean, gosh, a few years ago, I have people oftentimes who mislead me. You know, they'll meet me and they'll want my help, or they'll want to get on the show, or they'll want to tell me things and misrepresent who they are, and then just be just a totally different person. It's the weirdest thing I've ever seen in my life. And I had to call Ryan Scray at one point and tell him, okay, now I believe you're acting in bad faith. So, you know, don't call me. If I see you, I won't be rude to you, but don't try to shake my hand. You know, you're a bad faith actor, dude. I mean, he's the one. You know where he got it? Jamie Warwick. Why would the Republican of the Year give that guy the deposition to post online? My theory is because then the city could say, oh, look at this. We can't have our people deposed because it might be, you know, they might be scared to tell the truth, or they don't want to be criticized on social media. So they set up the circus. The city created a circus, and they're going to, my guess is they will now use the circus they created and try to blame the plaintiff, the one who's been harmed from the outset. We'll find out in the morning. I did the show on Sunday night. So, you know, if that is their plan, because we know they talk and violate sunshine law. Well, you can just follow my script. And also gives them a little bit of time to change script if they want to. They did it. The city leaked it. The city leaked it. So why would I say something about Ryan Scray, who often goes up there and gives public comments, and I wish all citizens did. My problems with him is just he was dishonest with me, and he's kind of like Forrest Gump. He ends up in places where it doesn't make sense. For example, when Mayor Margot Anderson, when the FBI and Sheriff Tommy Ford went to arrest her early in the morning back in 2020, August 19, 2020, in the very early morning when they went to her home in Lynn Haven and brought the news stations, the FBI and Sheriff Ford brought WMBB and WJHG so they could videotape and play on loop them stealing the RV that belonged to her husband and her, and that they eventually had to return 3 years later or so. But they wanted to get all of this propaganda. So Sheriff Ford and the FBI and the news show up along with Ryan Scray. Now, that's just weird. So I don't know why Jamie Warwick would give it to Ryan Scray. I don't know why. I'll save some of the other weird things because I'm not my purpose in telling you this. Look, I have a theme I live by, and I got it from Will Rogers. I never pick on a little guy, only big people, and then I only pick on big people who I believe are bullies or thieves or both. And I'm just an ankle biter, I didn't do much. I wasn't able to get Mayor Mike Thomas held accountable or Mayor Mark Sheldon held accountable or anybody else. So, Ryan Scray is a citizen who's been on my show. He sort of injected himself into this public debate in this arena, and his opinion matters as much as anybody else's. And I don't normally talk about citizens, but it's very interesting to me. I just wanted you to understand that when I see several things that are just plain weird, and it looks almost like a play or a skit where everybody has a role, I have to tell you about it. Well, I don't have to tell you about it because I don't tell you most of the things that I know. But this is all happening in the morning. So the point here, though, is not that anybody did anything wrong or illegal, but I wanted you to know how it got online. And after the deposition was on the internet, the Beacon of Bay County, Jody Moore put it on and showed it to you, and you were able to read it. I chose not to do that for my own reasons. Like a lot of other things I haven't shown you yet. I didn't think, for me, my choice. Again, the Beacon was already up. They scooped me again. But Vicki Gaynor, the city manager, is to be deposed soon. They're trying to kick the can down the road, but eventually you've got to sit down and go under oath again, city manager. And so do the city workers, and they're terrified about what's going to be said because it's criminal. So tomorrow, because the city of Lynn Haven is full of propaganda and liars, and I think fraud, I have no clue what the defendants in this lawsuit brought by James Finch against them. I have no idea what the defendants, the city of Lynn Haven and city manager Gaynor, are going to say or try to strategize. But my guess will be to deflect blame, to lie about these depositions, what's in them, what they say, and what they mean, you know, and what's going to come from them. And I know I've been watching the city, and I'm going to show you in a second. I've been watching the city commission meetings. I've attended a couple recently, and the city attorney is Amy Myers. She's with, what is it again? Herondale Sale. Let's see. I haven't even looked at the comments yet. Make sure I'm not missing anything. She's with the big crony law firm with Cole, Son Davis, and all of them. And I've dealt with her for a decade as well. And look, I say this online because I said it in a commission meeting, Panama City Beach council meetings, and they never denied it because it's true. When the city of Panama City Beach was deposed in 2020, August 27, I believe, of 2020, something like that. It was August of 2020. After that, the FBI wanted information regarding Popeye Park from the city to include the plat of the low water area. And the city attorney, Amy Myers, the reason I call her Amy Whiteout Myers is because she gave the FBI a copy of the plat that was altered, strategically altered. And then it was a 1964 plat, I believe. So it looked like typewriter print, font. And then over the top of what they redacted in white, they typed in old typewriter font, other stuff. And I asked at the podium, do you deny that? And they never denied it. Because the plat they gave the FBI was very different. Now, the weird thing is, in 2020, the special agent then is the one who went after Mayor Anderson and James Finch. Well, he has since retired, but he loved it. He loved when Vicky Gaynor and Amy Myers lied to him. Now, he's not with the FBI anymore. So I don't know how they are now. But they'll throw your ass in prison if you get a date wrong. But so far, if you're Vicky Gaynor or Ricky Ramey or Amy Myers, all going to be there tomorrow morning. You can lie like a mug. But it looks to me like it's becoming a problem. And I think it's becoming a problem because of the lawsuits. In this case, the lawsuit brought by James Finch. Ooh. Jeez, I need to look at your oh yeah, Sarah Moon, thank you so much. That's the law firm. Hand Firm. If you now, I'm not joking. Cole Davis is a partner at Hand Firm. Let me make sure I can stop it. I'm going to see if I can make sure I found this because I'll show you the law firm. Handfirm.com, isn't it? It sure is. Watch, I'll show you. Let's take a look at the law firm Handfirm.com. I can't even. I need to pay. Okay, here we go. Yeah, see, welcome. This is the law firm. And this is the law firm that needs to take over because James Finch's lawsuit's getting damn serious. See, handfirm.com. If you type it in, you'll see the law firm. It's Hand Arundel Harrison Sale. Let's take a look on who we are. Let's take a look at who we are. Here are some of the attorneys. Let's see if they. View the attorneys. Here are the attorneys for the law firm. All right, I think Cole Davis should be on here. There's a big law. Look at all the attorneys. There's a big law firm. How come Cole Davis isn't on there? Oh, he has his first name isn't it's something like T. Cole Davis or something. Maybe there's Amy Myers. Look, there it is. There's Amy Whiteout Myers. So, yeah, she's very smart and she's actually nice, but I do think she gets in herself in situations where she has to cover for serious corruption, and then she ends up doing stuff. But anyway, that's the city attorney. Let's see how I thought I could just go back. No, no. All right. Anyway, enough of that. Thank you. That's the law firm. The most popular mayor and the real mayor of Lynn Haven in justice. Anywhere is a threat to justice everywhere. That's absolutely right. Hey, I wonder if Mayor Nelson quotes that MLK quote. He likes to quote. And they're always bragging about. Vicky Gaynor got who makes $166,000 a year or something plus $750 per month for a car allowance. Do you get $750 per month for a car allowance? Do you get $166,000 a year salary? Do you think that maybe the city managers for these small towns are overpaid? Somebody do the math for me. How much is like what would your monthly check be if you made $166,000 a year? I know that taxes eats up too much of it. I got it, but what would the gross be? My guess is it's going to be somewhere around $13,000 a month. Would that be close? How much would it be? $166,000 a year salary. What would that be monthly? Something like that. Plus free health care and all kinds of benefits. Plus overtime, Brian says. And that was my point. Since she worked on Martin Luther King Day, she got overtime plus the salary. Anyway, it's going to be a big deal tomorrow. I'm going to show you another aspect of this. Oh, wow. There we go. It's $3,200 a week. Are you making $3,200 a week plus a $750? I was close, huh? Plus another $750 a month for car allowance. I mean, it's a demanding job. And I know they want, what do they always say? Let's be a bunch of good little Rodney Kings and everybody get along. But, people aren't going to just move on. You don't get to just ruin people's lives, try to throw them in prison for life. You don't just get to rob the city blind and burn taxpayer money and scheme and plot and think that people are just going to go along to get along. No matter how much astroturfing you do, no matter how much you coordinate with the news media and with the other propaganda arms, the people are fed up, and the lawsuits are just getting started. And that's what's causing this early morning meeting. So how do they all get along? I think what they're going to say is nobody up here. And you know what? You can still do it anyway if you had a backbone. If you were representing the people and you're a commissioner and you hold the public trust of the people, even if the attorney says we all can't say anything and certainly never talk about it on public on social media and never talk about any of this in the meetings. We can never talk about it ever because it's an ongoing lawsuit. You still can talk about it. You still have an obligation. When somebody asks you, do you see corruption inside of City Hall, to be honest. So, but I'll tell you what, it was the city that leaked that. And once it's on the internet, anybody can post it. Anybody can share it. All right, I want to see. Golly, I get so many comments here. I haven't even. Oh, okay. Cole's son Davis is branched off. He's doing his own thing. Okay, geez. He blew up. He has gotten big. All right, I have to read all these comments later. I do want to show you that the guy who was deposed, the city contracted engineer, who said in a deposition that the city manager essentially coerced him to create requirements for bids that lock James Finch and Phoenix Construction out, or he wouldn't be the big money guy for the city. See, his company, Chris Forehand, Panhandle Engineering, they are one of 3 engineering firms who rotate. They help. This is absolutely insane what I'm about to tell you. This is how an honest city that follows the law would work. Let's say they have a project. Let's say they need to fix a big road, and it's going to be a $1 million project. There are state statutes that lay out how this works, right? They would send out an RFP, I believe it's called, a request for proposal, and then you'd have a bunch of companies send in how qualified they are in all of this. There would be RFQs, requests for qualifications. There would be bids. The bids would be opened the bids would be opened separately at the same time with other people around to certify it. And we've had all kinds of problems with that. But this would be done by city staff. The city staff would figure out which of the companies are the most qualified and which of the companies, when the bids come in, who has the lowest bid, and then the staff would rank them, and the staff would recommend to the commissioners. Staff recommends company A, they're the lowest bidder and the most qualified, or company A, they're the second most qualified, or the first most qualified, but the second when it comes to, they would make these decisions. Instead, the city of Lynn Haven is paying Panhandle Engineering and Chris Forehand a boatload of money to do the work that a real city would have its staff doing, along with 2 other engineering companies. Here, let me have Vicki Gaynor explain it to you. See, nobody counted on Vicki Gaynor and Chris Forehand, Panhandle Engineering. They have been, I would use the word conspiring, and they have been scheming and overcharging. I mean, oh my God. I mean, I've seen what was in the FBI 302s and some of the ones they didn't destroy. One Sheriff Ford didn't destroy. The investigation notes. I've seen the stuff. I've seen the emails and conversations between Chris Forehand and the state when it comes to where they're going to bury the debris, the vegetative debris after Hurricane Michael. I've seen a lot of this stuff. And yet still, we're called crazy when we say, why in the hell do you still have these big contracts with Panhandle Engineering? But what they didn't count on was that Forehand would one day tell the truth. And now you can only imagine the contempt and the wrath that's going to come from the Queen, City Manager Vicki Gaynor. I mean, she's been allowed to lie to the FBI with impunity. It's like the Hunger Games in that damn place. Their outfits, the money, the pole dancing. Yeah, if you haven't heard, I'm not going to go over it all inside of City Hall. It's like the friggin' Hunger Games. And if you don't go in there and, geez, it's cultish. It's creepy in there. It's a lot of whistleblowers that talk about it. It's catching up. And again, this is just the beginning of all of this. What was never held accountable by Sheriff Ford, because they're in on it, what was never held accountable by the FBI, who I think was in on it, is starting to be they're starting to be held accountable in civil courts. And they've got to come up with a plan by tomorrow. So take a look at this. This was just this was on June 10th. This was a meeting on June 10th, just last month. And the new returning city commissioner, Judy Tinder, asked a question about that very thing. Watch, listen to this. And listen to Vicki Gaynor's answer. I got a feeling Vicki Gaynor is not going to be paying Chris Forehand and Panhandle Engineering all this money anymore now that he finally told the truth.
I want to go to the warrant list again, because these are also things that I got answers to ahead of time, and I think the public might want to know. I think you've answered them for me, Kiki, but the DocuSign, the new vehicle went to administration. I asked what department that was going to, and this question is probably for Ms. Gaynor. It didn't used to be this way again, so I'm checking to see if we've changed it. Do we do our own bidding in-house for projects, or is Panhandle Engineering handling all the bidding? And one more part of that question. If they are handling all the bidding, is that why we pay them like almost $50,000?
That would include probably several projects that they're doing. It's just sometimes not just one bid project.
Right.
To answer your first question, anything that's under $35,000, we get quotes for. So there's no bidding there. If there are services by the city, lawn care, pest control, those kind of services, the city will write that RFP. Our attorney will look at it, prepare a contract. We put it out to bid. When there are projects that require planning, design, then those are the projects that we look to one of our engineers to do all of that work and then put it out to bid. So we have 3 engineering companies: Panhandle, Dewberry, and Mott McDonald.
All right. I want to say something right here. There are different ways to approach a big project. One way is known as design bid, and I forget what the term, maybe if Mayor Anderson is still watching, she can help me. But the city can take like a 2-step approach, which is always a lot more expensive. They can say, okay, we're going to hire a consultant, usually Dewberry, who's cost Panama City Beach millions of dollars in their faulty consulting. And they'll say, okay, we'll hire one of these big engineering companies to give us a plan. And as a matter of fact, Panhandle Engineering has been hired to do this very thing for the beach project, for the Beach Drive sidewalk. They've been paid, what is it, close to $1 million? Panama City has paid Chris Foran's company, I think it's close to $1 million for its consulting plans and design, plans. And then we found out, oh, they didn't have jurisdiction over the road. And so now they've burned up a bunch of money too. Or there's another way. And then once you get all this consulting money burned, then you actually get a contractor to do the work. But there's another approach, and this is part of the reason for the persecution of James Finch. One reason James Finch and Phoenix Construction was able to win so many contracts unanimously was because they were by far the lowest bidder. And that's partly because they already had the equipment right around the corner. They didn't have to bring up the tractors and the workers. They're here. And so and this, look, this is what I've been told, and this is what I have seen and what I have learned. I didn't used to believe it. But people in this world have told me, many of them, I'm not going to tell you their names because they're in this field. And you'd be surprised. They said, James Finch is a genius when it comes to this type of stuff. I said, James? He doesn't sound like a genius. You know, it's unbelievable. I know big company people here who would be subcontracted by him. And they said, it's unbelievable what he does. The way he is able to think things through and say, you know, actually, rather than doing this, why don't we do it this way? And the engineers would say, oh, geez, we didn't think of that. Well, get to it. And then he would buy the, you know, all of the stuff that they need, the concrete, all of it, steel, whatever it is. You get the best deals, and then they'd make sure they get it done on time and correct. And the way that he would do it, they often didn't use an engineer first. They didn't have a consultant first. He would hire the consultant. So the consultant would get a real market rate price rather than a super duper inflated price that these corrupt cities pour into consultants. They would hire the contractor, and then the contractor would do that work. And it would save the city so much money. But the FBI and Sheriff Ford lied to everybody in the whole world and said that that was illegal to do with FEMA money. That was a lie. And so now we're back to where they just burn money at the altar of these consultants and engineers. And Lord knows what the kickbacks must look like. All right. I think I do want to play a little bit more. I want you just to hear how City Manager Vicki Gaynor and the city talks about how we've got to pay all these engineers. It's the engineers who rank the bids and the companies. That's insane. You're paying these engineering companies, what is it, 50 grand a month or some crazy amount? But it's for 6 jobs. Oh. To do what your staff should be doing. And they say, you know, you're going to love this. I'm so glad I just thought of this. This is going to be the best part for you all the whole night. I think Judy Tinder, if I remember from scanning through this a little while ago, Commissioner Tinder is going to ask a question about why do we do it this way? And Vicki Gaynor's answer is classic. Remember what I tell you? They try to make things sound like they're so complex that only the super smart people can know, and you just have misinformation. Complexity masks fraud. Whenever you are investigating a city, looking into a policy or why they did something, and it doesn't make sense, understand that it's either a land deal, somebody either got a land deal, or complexity masks fraud. Watch this. This is unbelievable. Watch this. So Vicki just said, yeah, we've got 3 engineers that decide who they're going to rank. These big engineers and these big contractors, they've got a stranglehold on these corrupt politicians and officials, and nobody else, no other companies can compete for lower prices for the people.
And so it could be any of those companies.
Okay, so
Engineering firms, excuse me.
So the engineering companies are doing the bidding for bigger projects and gathering, it says gathering the information, accepting bids and all of that. Who, do we still do the 3 bid process?
Did you hear that? Chris Forehand is accepting bids. See, this is why this is such a big deal. Again, nobody counted on Chris Forehand and Panhandle Engineering ever telling the truth about City Manager Vicki Gaynor, because they've been tied at the hip for a long time. All right, I'm not going to speculate too much more, but I'm just going to tell you, nobody counted on that. And that's what tomorrow morning's meeting's about. This is from June 10th. So Vicky says, yeah, Chris Forehand and Panhandle Engineering, they're the ones that she nodded when she asked that
We
question.
still do the 3-bid process for anything under $35,000.
But not over
Excuse
35.
me, but over $35,000, we actually put the bid out to bid, but there are differences. Some of them are for projects, construction projects.
Mhm.
No, normally those require design, engineering. Those are going to go to our engineers, one of our 3 engineers.
Mhm.
If it's something that is in-house, we can either, if it's under $35,000, 3 quotes. If it's over $35,000 and it's a service that the city actually has to have, then the city can put it out. For instance, we're getting ready to put out for bid because those 4 contracts are up, debris hauling. So, and those will be put out to bid by the city. We will send it to FEMA for them to look at, just to make sure we have all of the Fed.
I mean, do you see how absolutely insane this is? I want you to hear this. Like, this is what happened after Hurricane Michael. Are you ready for this? She just talked about debris hauling. After Hurricane Michael, God, this is so crazy. It was October of 2018. Their city attorney was convicted. The city attorney, Adam Albritton, was also the city attorney for Derwin White, the president of GAC Contractors. Derwin White was working with Ashbrit, the national hauling company. All right. Derwin White and Ashbrit conspired to inflate the prices for the cities for debris pickup, debris disposal. And Derwin told the city attorney, Adam Albritton, to write a justification letter to say that it was $4.70 per cubic yard rather than $3.50 per cubic yard, which was the real low bid. Then the city attorney, Adam Albritton, was taking $10,000 a week and pocketing it for 12 weeks. So these are the people talking about debris hauling, and guess who monitored the square yardage or the cubic yardage? It was a company called Tetra Tech, and Tetra Tech was brought in and housed by Chris Forehand. And then Chris Forehand had a brand new LLC that was also involved. And Chris Forehand was what was it? He was a managing something at Tetra Tech. The very people that were involved in inflating prices of debris hauling, and Vicky Gaynor was there as well. They're still there. And she's saying, look, Judy, we have 3 companies that we've chosen. They're the ones that decide the bids. They're the ones. How does this happen? Do you know that our sheriff lives in Lynn Haven? Our state attorney lives in Lynn Haven. They all know. I read their 302s and their investigation reports. They knew all this stuff and did not tell you. And they're still doing it. And Forehand got immunity from the feds for breaking the law. And they're still doing it. But depositions are a mother beep. And now, as Jesse said, it's the truth coming out. Listen, this is wild right here.
Federal information, but those are put out. So you're talking about big projects.
And she mentioned FEMA. Remember, it was the FEMA lady who Vicky Gaynor told the FBI she walked into Michael White's office and they were having sex. And then she told a federal judge, Mark Walker, an entirely different story. Well, I walked in, but they weren't having sex. She said, the female lady was just slumped over. Did you take her pulse? The hell? What Michael White give her? Slumped over? That's better? I mean, if you ever walk in on me, she's not going to be slumped over. Slumped over. And it was, oh, okay. And the FBI back then, and the judge, and the prosecutors, they loved all of Vicki Gaynor's stories, no matter how different they were. That's crazy. All right, I'm gonna put it back on. I keep interrupting the part where Vicki Gaynor explains how they decide these things.
It requires design, planning, and engineering.
And that goes to Dewberry, Panhandle, and
Correct.
whoever. Okay. So that combination between Dewberry and Panhandle, we paid $56,000 this month or this pay period.
The Panhandle
Panhandle.
invoice is for 28,000, or the check, excuse me, the check is for $28,525.
Mhm.
That's 8 separate projects.
Okay.
And I have a copy if you'd like a
Watch
copy.
Vicki try and justify.
How
Look,
many separate projects?
How many?
Kiki? 8.
8.
Yes.
Yeah, it was 8.
And can they provide the bidding sheets? Or who decides? What person decides? who gets
Listen.
the job when they
Listen
have
to
it?
this.
It's according to expertise, because they all don't have the same.
Who decides? Is it Chris Forehand who decides? Who decides who gets the bids? I got to hear this again. It's according to expertise. Listen.
Same expertise when it comes to engineering.
Separate projects.
Okay, listen.
Okay.
And I have a copy if you'd like a copy.
Okay.
How many separate projects, Kiki? 8. Yes.
And
Put
can they
put a pin in
provide
this.
the bidding sheets? Or who decides? What person decides who gets
What
the
person?
job when they have it?
It's according to expertise, because they all don't have the same expertise when it comes to engineering. So a lot of those, and then if we have to have where we have to bid out a particular project, then whatever engineering firm comes in who's qualified, then that's the engineer that we choose.
Thank you.
It's according to
Oh,
expertise.
that's the end of my report.
All right, that's all. I mean, I just. So tomorrow morning, they're going to have a meeting at 7 a.m. They're hoping none of you are awake. They don't want any of you to see what's happening in the morning. Again, what they are very, very concerned about is they are the defendants in Finch's lawsuit. Since the deposition of Chris Forehand, James Finch has dismissed Forehand from the lawsuit. He's off the hook. He got deposed. He told the truth about city manager Vicki Gaynor and her culpability in the torts against him, in the harms against him by the city, illegally, bid rigging. So they're next up on deck for depositions, and they've got to figure out what to do. Now, again, based on what I've seen over the past decade, my guess is they're going to gaslight. They're going to blame others for doing what they, in fact, are doing. I cannot imagine that they will be this brazen, but they might be. They are the defendants. The city and city. First of all, how are they even talking about this? Like, Vicki Gaynor is the subject of this entire deposition that the city leaked. That the city leaked to create a circus. The city leaked it to Ryan Scray, who posted it on the internet, and then it was fair game. So I want you to hear me. So the city still has time between now and 7 a.m. to change their story if this is their plan. If the city tries to blame James Finch for creating a circus out of the deposition, Remember, it was the city itself, a defendant in the lawsuit, that leaked it, and their what would I call them? I don't know, apparatus or whatever I would. Their buddy Ryan Scray is the one who posted it on the internet, and then it's fair game. Not illegal, not even wrong, really. But I could imagine a defendant trying to say, hey, Your Honor, the plaintiff's making a circus out of this. You did. You did it. If there's a circus online, you did it. Specifically, and if I'm wrong, just tell me and I'll correct it. But it was Commissioner Jamie Warwick who gave that deposition to Ryan Scray, who posted it. You did it. So it'll be so interesting tomorrow. I just know how they blame other people for what they do, how they deflect, how they gaslight. And I don't know if they're going to live stream it or not. It is a special meeting. I believe it's, let me see if Hair on Fire meeting. It's a Hair on Fire meeting is what it's officially called. And I don't know if they videotape Hair on Fire meeting. Connie, what do you mean 6:30? I thought it was 7 a.m. Has it been? Okay, I need to wait now until somebody tells me if it's been, is it 6:30 a.m. or is it 7 a.m.? I need confirmation on this because they are supposed to live stream to YouTube, not Facebook. Let's see. It was a commissioner. I would be at that meeting. If I was a commissioner, okay, I see. It's at 7, Brian Gray says. That's what I thought. That's what I thought. Connie's probably saying 6:30 so that I'll be on time. I see. I got you, Connie. I see what you're saying. You're right. Thanks for telling me that. All right. I need to get out of here, but I want to just share with you this, I like to say the truth will have its day, but I got to tell you the truth sometimes will only have its day if determined people and brave and courageous people never let go until the truth is told. Because if it were up to these lying, corrupt so-and-sos, you would never know. And by the way, I like to say this too. This is important. I hope you hear this. Part of the reason we're in the situation we are in America, where it seems like we're lied to from morning to night by public officials who hold a public trust, is this. Think about this. I like to say this. The extent to which there's public corruption is the extent to which there's no reporting of it. There's no journalism. Instead, cities have learned, and contractors and kingmakers have learned, that if they pay news outlets or other media outlets, then they have a public-private partnership with them, which perverts what journalism is. Journalism is supposed to ask the tough questions, not repeat press releases and call citizens gadflies, or, as Tho Bishop said one time with his new elitist way about him, the same old, the same, what did he call them? The same small group of people who are regurgitating the same old fallacious arguments over and over and over. That's one way to look at the people. Often the people with the biggest stake in it, like, I don't know, their homes. But the extent to which there's public corruption is the extent to which there's no reporting of it. And now that there is evidence, I'm not saying that that Forehand's testimony is the end of the story, but now you have what is considered evidence in a court of law of bid rigging, of a conspiracy, of tortious interference, of corruption, of honest services fraud. That cost the city more than $500,000 because of the city manager's hatred of contractor James Finch. I can't think of how many crimes have been committed. So now Jamie Warwick, who was asked if you've seen public corruption and lied, because he was with me at the court. I saw him in the courtroom when Vicki Gaynor was on the witness stand. That's corruption when she says one thing to the FBI and another thing to the judge. Lots of what she did in that courtroom indicated corruption. Now you've got more evidence of corruption. So the news outlets that just keep taking the money from the cities and the municipalities and the county and the quasi-governments to be public-private partners, to read press releases to the people as though press releases are news. They have whored themselves out. They have perverted the craft of journalism, which without that, you have no real. You cannot have honest government. You cannot have democracy. You got to have it. And if that wasn't bad enough, then you have even, look, I see this every cycle of elections. You'll see what Sarah Moon calls the you mad bros. You mad bros, or now the hometown hobos. You will see these little groups form, or these pages form. It's called astroturfing. These little fakes that are getting paid to hold up public officials and lie to you. It happened. I first noticed this in 2015. Some joker named Joe Wright, I guess, was the first guy I'd ever seen. They being the local establishment, and I know who they are, they will pay groups of people to be little online army trolls, or to repeat a lie over and over and over, and then again accuse you of being what they're doing. These are little astroturf campaigns that, on top of the public-private partnerships and perversion of the press, the people are screwed. You wonder why good people don't get elected? Because regular people with jobs and families and kids who are busy, they don't get the truth. They at least don't even get both sides of the story. So these little paid trolls, or whoever, are telling you things that you know are not true, and you wonder what the hell's going on around here. Just know that they are dabblers, that they are paid, that they I've seen them come and go, and I can tell you when they're going to start and when it's going to end. And astroturfing has no power against authenticity and the truth. That's why they're calling an emergency meeting tomorrow. Because the truth will have its day, as long as you're here. As long as the Beacon of Bay County's here. As long as brave people who give a damn like Christy McElroy And so many of you, I wish there were, 20 times more. But, it is what it is, right? I got to go. What am I doing here? Can't even believe you're still here. Thank you for being with me. And if you do want to support my efforts, this is one way to do it. And crowdfunding sure helps. The Liberty Lounge doesn't pay for itself. I'll tell you that. I mean, I knew a guy one time, a baker, who said the bread doesn't bake itself, Bernie. We got to get in here early and do the work. And without your support, without crowdfunding, I couldn't do this. So thank you to those of you who contribute to the show. Patreon.com is one way, patreon.com/Bernie Thompson. As little as $5 a month, the best money you can spend on the internet. And you know this. It's easy. It's anonymous, and you can quit at any time. Also, I want to thank the Unknown Patriot for your support. And I am going to send out, after this show, the weekly newsletter, email newsletter. And if you want it, it takes 20 seconds to subscribe. It's free. Bernie.substack.com. You'll never miss a show. You'll never miss a important Facebook post. Bernie.substack.com. Get the email weekly newsletter, and you can see all the shows once a week, one email a week. All right, I'm out of here. Thank you so much for being with me. I'll be up early trying to see what's going on, and I'll behave myself. I won't yell from the audience.
Were you lying then? Are you lying now? Or are you not, in fact, a chronic and habitual liar?